So Saturday morning, June 6th, about 7 a.m. and man, it is just a great morning. Nice and cool, nice breeze. It makes for no bugs, and you probably know by now how much I hate bugs, for as much as I mention how often there is no bugs, because I just hate working in them. But just wanted to kind of set this up for you just a second here. I'm on the southern boundary of the property, and I'm about probably a quarter of the way from the road. And I don't know if you can notice this right here, but we've got kind of like a ridge that goes north and south into the property. And that ridge kind of continues right into the property, and it also continues off into public land, which is south of the property over here. And it's kind of funny because just after the snow melt, we did some scouting over here, and we noticed that there was a bunch of deer here and a couple of beds right here up on top of the ridge going into public land. So, you know, just another indication to us that, you know, these deer like to run on these ridges. And, you know, it goes, I don't know if you can tell, but it goes down further out in the camera, and then it goes down behind the camera as well. So we've already done some hinge cutting here along the border. We're just taking the canopy out along the edge, and we're just getting the sunlight in, and it's just going to allow everything to just get nasty thick along the borders here. Because, you know, this little 2-track right here, it's probably been here for many, many years. There's probably a lot of guys that know about it. Probably a lot of guys walk this to get back to deer blinds and whatnot. So if we can really make this thick here along the edge, then it's just going to discourage guys from going in there. And they're not going to be able to see in there. But then again, the deer are not going to be able to see and hear the guys over here on public land as much either. And it's going to make those deer on my property feel a lot more safe. So anyway, I'm going to keep right on hinge cutting here. And what also is kind of neat, what I'm seeing is right along the edge, we've got a lot of maples on my side of the trail. We've got a lot of maples along the edge, but not so much into the property, which, I mean, coincidentally just works out great, because I'm taking all the maples down. It's going to let that sunlight in, and then I don't have to take as many oaks down inside the property, so they can continue to make acorns. But you know, red oak's going to come down, maybe not white oak so fast, but we're just going to cut enough trees to make the, you know, right amount of bedding in the property, whether it's a white oak or not. So anyway, we're going to keep on cutting, and I'll get back to you. Just so you know where I was hinge cutting today, I was down here in the southwest corner, right along this trail here that separates my property from public land. And you probably saw my vehicle down here. But today I was just creating a screen right along here. And then we had also done, in the month of May, we had done some screening right here up along the road in this area. And then we had put in some other hinge cuts and beds right along this area here. We have yet to hinge cut this area, which we're still going to do. And but this area here is the part that's all been select cut 4 years ago. And this is the part, you know, that has the 6 to 8 foot growth of all the new saplings coming up. And, you know, there is a smattering of oak trees that they left, and there are some pockets of, you know, maple and some popple trees that we're going to hinge cut as well too. And so you'll see that as we take a drive down this little trail here, and we'll go check out and see what's happening over by the food plot. So now as we start driving south down this two-track from the north property line, you can see that the trail is pretty sandy, and that's pretty typical for the soil here on this property. And as we move into the area that had been select cut 4 years ago, you can see that we're driving through all the new chutes that are 4 to 6 feet tall. And in some of these areas, it's almost like driving through a cornfield. But you know, I would rather have this type of habitat than a cornfield, because this is the type of stuff that provides the all-important woody browse for the deer 12 months out of the year, instead of just, you know, food for, you know, just a few months out of the year. And then as we continue west, you can see the soil is still sandy, but you know, look at all the oak trees that are still standing. Now they're not all oak trees, because the loggers did leave a bunch of maple and poplar left, but we're going to be able to hinge cut all that stuff and create just more bedding, you know, interspersed among all the new shoots and along with the oaks. So, you know, we've got the best of both worlds. We've got hinge cuts, we've got food with acorns inside all the cover. And so if you've got a woods and you've been thinking about, man, should I hinge cut, should I select cut, should I clear cut, you know, I would say if you can take out some of the maples and some of the softwood undesirables out of your woods, let the light in, and just get it nasty thick along with some oaks, and you've got cover growing. I mean, you've got the best of both worlds in my opinion. And now, as we get to the food plot here, you can see that it's pretty dry. It hasn't rained for about the last week or so. And this is the buckwheat that I planted about 2 weeks ago. And you can see that it's about up an inch or two now. And some of those leaves are about the size of quarters. And that's because the day after I planted it, it rained really hard, and it germinated really well. But then, you know, the last 7 days we really haven't got any rain. And due to the torrential downpours they had a few days after we planted, some of that seed got washed away and just went into some puddles, and now it's all growing in clumps. So I had to reseed it the following weekend, but of course we didn't get any rain since then. And so now that hasn't germinated yet, but hopefully soon. So we're at the western end of the property, and we're looking toward the neighbor to the west, and you can see his wall of trees where he's got closed canopy woods back there. But in the foreground here on my property, you know, all there is left is just oaks, and you got all the new shoots coming out, but it is kind of hard to tell how thick it is. So let's go take a walk, and we'll walk through here, and you can see how thick this stuff is really becoming. You know, I'm 6'5", and this stuff's well over my head, and it does look like the leaves on some of these shoots are getting kind of dry because they hadn't had any rain in about 10 days. But there is rain in the forecast, so the stuff's going to continue to grow and get taller. But you can see the individual white oak trees right there that's mixed in throughout all this cover. And so this fall, you know, if we got oaks on the ground or acorns on the ground, the deer aren't going to have to move much. We are going to sink several 55-gallon drums for watering holes. And so between the water and the acorns and the nearby food plots, you know, we found deer beds mixed in all this stuff before the green up happened. So, you know, really these deer are not going to have any reason to have to leave once the hunting pressure is on. And because all the surrounding property is closed high canopy woods, you know, my property is going to be the only one left with cover. So hope you like this video, and we'll see you next week.